what is the OpenAI API? Well, the OpenAI API really allows us to easily access the powerful OpenAI models. You need a key, so you need an API key. The key will allow the API to know exactly who you are, understand what you're trying to do, and be able to bill you for it appropriately. The API requests and returns information in JSON format, which we're going to be going through later on as well. You also need to specify an endpoint. The endpoint is quite simply which model you want to use. So for example, if you wanted to use the GPT-3 models for text generation, you would need to send a request to that specific API endpoint. If you send that text to another API endpoint, for example for code generation, you might not understand what you're trying to do because the model was not built for text generation. So when we start using the API, there are really two things that you will see we need to be aware of. The one is we need to supply the key. The key unlocks the API for us. It knows that this API is being used by which person. It knows that it needs to build them appropriately or count against their usage metrics. And it allows you to be able to access it. Any API, secure API, requires this key. The endpoint is which model you'll be using and sending your input to. And that specific endpoint, you can think of that as the specific model you want to access, will then provide the output to you, and that all happens in JSON format. So let's delve into API keys. I say that they are the secret ingredient, and the reason I say that is because your API key you should generally keep secret. You don't want anybody else to know your API key, because then if you're being built for usage, people might use it for their own benefit, and you get billed. If they are using it for nefarious purposes as well, you would be the one that would be billed and potentially banned from the service. So API keys are all unique. They are randomly generated, but they're all absolutely unique, and they're used to authenticate and track usage. They're basically a secret code that's issued by the provider, in this case being OpenAI. It's used to identify you and authorize you access to the API. It's also used to track usage and manage billing and payments for API usage. Some API providers may charge users based on the amount of data they access or the number of times you make a request to a specific API. Of course, that's why we need to know the endpoint as well, because some models are more expensive than others. So what is JSON? We saw it mentioned previously. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. Now JSON makes it very easy to send and receive data. It is built as a data exchange mechanism. It's very lightweight and it uses data in a very structured way that is very easy for humans to read as well as computers. It's used for APIs. It's very widely used in web development to transmit data between different applications and services. And as we said, it's text-based. That means it can be easily transmitted over the internet and is also easily read by both computers and humans alike. JSON comes in a key pair format. That means that each segment of the JSON text, content, will have a descriptor saying what it is, for example, API key, and then the value. And the value will be the actual API key in that case. So how do you get your OpenAI API key? Well, first you need to navigate to openai.com/API. And if you don't already have an account, you need to sign up. If you do, log into your account on the top right-hand corner. You'll want to fill in your email address, as well as your password, and you may have to verify that you are human. On the top right of the page, you want to click Personal, and then View API Keys. There you can see all of my keys, and it even says that they are secret keys. If you haven't created any keys yet, you'll want to create a new secret key. And when you click that, it'll show you the key and you can copy it, and you need to save that somewhere secure because you won't be able to view it again through the OpenAI platform. When you click OK, the key will have been created.